designing the 4 P's of marketing or marketing strategy, or how culture influence our consumption pattern or consumption behavior, right? Now, I have noted, I have observed or made some specific observations like on Tuesdays and Thursdays, the services or the consumer number of consumers going to salon or consuming salon services reduces. One. There is a second observation that a research paper, I read it in some research paper, there was a finding that on Saturdays, the sale of cars dips specifically on Saturdays. And okay, car kotha ta mu analyze karibi. Can some of you give me the reason why the consumers don't tend to offer consume salon services on Tuesdays and Thursdays? ମୋ question ଟା ବୁଝି ହେଲା?
Yes, ma'am.
Salon re, if you go to Lakme salon, the salon offers some special promotion coupons for Tuesdays, specifically for Tuesdays. They even don't attempt to offer any promotion for Thursdays. And whenever a promotion is offered by some marketeer, the basic objective of any promotion or every promotion is to encourage consumers to buy more. So somewhere on Tuesdays, the brand is trying to encourage consumers to consume the service. Now, why this effort is being made on Tuesdays or on Thursdays?
Thursday मैडम कहते ना लक्ष्मी पड़े लक्ष्मी को बाहर को जीवा को दिया होनी बोली सेतमे नॉर्मली
haircuts or
हमर माने
hair washing
पूर्वरु सेटा चाली आछि.
Now, is this a belief? This is a belief. And see how a belief established traditionally few generations back, how it is floating. Ame बहुत aspect रे ame behavior change ही गलानी. Amaro previous tradition generations को तो ame देते down the line family रे तीनटा generation देखिबा कि चारटा generation तळ देखिया तांकर behavior amaro behavior रे बहुत difference आसी गलानी. We are every day evolving in our behavior. We are every day changing our traditions, customs, rituals, norms. We are changing and we are falling into new norms. But see, then also beliefs created few generations back has flowed through these generations, passed through these generations, and has got deep rooted, and it has got so deep rooted that it is influencing our behavior. Now, if I would sit down to analyze the base of the belief, I fundamentally, being a person to this generation, this current generation, I personally don't find any relevance or logic behind this belief. Then also, I am following the behavior. This example is giving us a clear-cut picture of what is culture. That belief is culture, has been established as an element of culture, and how that belief or that culture is influencing our consumer behavior. One part. The culture is on Thursdays or on Tuesdays, normally we don't get haircuts or we don't wash hairs because of some reason, right? And the consumer's behavior is on these days, I don't go to salons to consume any kind of service. And the marketeer strategies for Tuesdays, they are offering discounts or discount coupons to consumers to encourage them to come on Tuesdays. And the marketer also know that this is the attempt we can do only for Tuesday. They are not trying to attempt that on Thursday, because for Thursday, the beliefs are further more stronger than what is the belief for Tuesday. Right? Similarly, we'll find many multinational companies offering their products to different countries. Like for example, KFC. KFC is offering their product to the Indian market, right? If you go to Eastern India, if you go to Northern India, if you go to Western India, KFCs of these three parts of the country. I'm leaving Southern India, southern part of the country, because in some of the states they are offering a different menu. But these three parts of the country, northern, western, and eastern part of the country, you will never find a menu of KFC offering the consumers beef in any of its cuisines. Because they know that not consuming beef is a value system among Indians. It is a value system and it has lot many sanctions. Sanctions are the punishments given in case of disobedience of norms or disobedience of rules of the society. So, being such a successful, globally established brand, they never attempt, or they are trying to design a menu card where they are offering pizzas, they are offering chicken fries, they are offering cheeses, they are offering burgers. And the menu has been designed so that every cuisine offered in the menu is as per the taste palette of the Indian consumers. When the same KFC go to Japan, their menu change. When the same KFC is offering in UK, their menu changes, and when they go to America, their menu system changes. So culture is basically a phenomenon which can be observed not only the way we behave, the values we inculcate, it is also observed in the food we consume, the dress we wear, the communication we use, language, symbols, everything. Now, can someone tell, is there someone in the group who is of the age of 20, 21, 23, 24? क्या अच्छा ग्रुप रे 21-22 वर्षर 23-24 वर्षर or 25, 26 like this. Okay, chada. Anybody can answer this. You are living in your house and everyone must be having a neighbor. What you normally call, how do you address the lady in the neighborhood? How do you address the lady of that house?
As per their age, we see and we address them.
And
ମାନେ
if she
ବୟସ
is let's
ହେଇଥିଲେ
suppose she
ମାଉସୀ,
is ବୟସ କହିଥିଲେ ମାଉସୀ ଟିକେ କମ
ନହେଲେ
ବୟସ
ଆମ ଏଜ ହେଇଥିଲେ ଭାଉଜ କି ନାନୀ ଯାହାବି.
ଭାଉଜ କି ନାନୀ. Now, can we imagine someone calling a elderly lady by her first name in our society?
ନା.
Na. And if that happens, what do we perceive? ଯେ ସେଟା ହବ ଜଣେ ବୟସ୍କ ଲୋକକୁ ଜଣେ ତାଙ୍କ first name ଧରିକି ଡାକୁଛନ୍ତି. Now, how do we perceive that person? Ill mannered?
ହଁ.
ଅଭଦ୍ରାମୀ ବୋଲି ଏଟାକୁ କନସିଡର କରାଯିବ. ଛୋଟ ପିଲାଟେ ଯଦି ଜଣେ ଏଲ୍ଡରଲି ଲୋକ କିମ୍ବା ବଡ ଲୋକକୁ ବାଇ ନେମ୍ ଡାକୁଛି, ତାହେଲେ ଆମେ କହିବା କେତେ ଅଭଦ୍ର ପିଲା, ଘରେ କିଛି ଶିଖେଇ ନାହାନ୍ତି. Now, in the same context, if we analyze the American culture, there even a kid 3-4 years old would address the neighbor, the elders of the neighbor, by their first name. They would call the neighbor as Mr. Stephens, Mr. John, Mr. Jacob. They would address by the first name. And the height is the recipient, that neighbor, the person in the neighborhood would never take it as a shame or an objection. Students in schools and colleges would call their professors, teachers by their first name. And teachers never object to that. On the contrary, if the same thing happens in Indian schools or colleges or universities, then we feel this is a shameful act or this is an act of ill manner. This is what is culture, and this is how culture influences. From these 2-3 examples I cited, at least you would have got a picture of how culture is influencing our behavior. मते जदि मो पड़िसा घर गोटे छोट पिलाटे आंटी कहूची I am feeling good, but if she would start addressing me as Mrs. Shushmita, then I would feel कि टिके awkward लागबो, ये कोन छोट पिलाटा by name कोन डाकुची, right? So today we'll discuss what is this culture, what are those elements of culture, how culture influence our behavior, and how marketers should use that, right? Culture, if we understand how culture influence behavior, that's for a marketer is the information how to use elements of culture to design strategies, to design prices, to design products, to design promotions, to design even distribution, so that consumer will accept your goods and services. So what is culture? Culture is basically learned as a set of learned beliefs. Just now you told ame traditionally eta janichu, sikhichu. Ki gurubar dino, mongolbar dino, chutti kota jibani, mondo dua habani. So it is a set of learned beliefs or values. Values mu ebe koile elder manuku by first name nei ke address kariwa amo values nu. Attitudes, how we look at things. Habits and behaviors that are shared by society and transmitted or passes from generation to generation. So culture is basically a learned belief, a value system, attitude, certain habits or behavior which passes from generation to generation in a society. And basically, when in this process of transmission, when beliefs or values or habits are transmitting from one generation to other generation, they are not exactly transmitting in the same way. They are always transmitting with little bit of evolution or change in modification in that. And the modification is normally made by the generation who is receiving those values, those beliefs. So as per our convenience or comfort, or as per our learning system, we tend to slightly modify those beliefs or values and habits and then adapt it. देखिबो जो बेस बिलीफ गुड़ाक सेम अच्छी, but in some of the further slides I'll tell there are two sets of values every individual has. One is called a terminal value. Just give me 1 minute. So there are two values within an individual. One is called a terminal value and the second one is called an instrumental value. Terminal values are the, like for example, I love my country. This every Indian would say that I love my country. Every person would say that he would love his country. Success is a terminal value. Terminal value are the end goals which you want to achieve in life. Instrumental value is the means to reach that goal. Now there are two students, let's suppose in a class, and one for both of them, the terminal value is to get good marks. But the instrumental value, the means of achieving that terminal value might be different. One would prefer doing hard work and remaining honest. The other one would fall into or might decide to use some unfair means to cheat in the examination and get those good marks. Now, both these students, they have acquired the same terminal value, but their instrumental values are different. So when we talk about terminal values, across generations, when the beliefs or values or attitudes are transmitted from generation to generation, those terminal values normally remains the same, but the instrumental values, the means of achieving those goals changes. Right? Like 2 generations back, one of the terminal value was to get entertained. आ तांकर मीन्स ऑफ गेटिंग एंटरटेन कौन थिला गोटे पाला देखिबे गोटे यात्रा देखिबे भागवत टुंगी को जिबे इफ यू टॉक अबाउट रूरल इंडिया ता पर जनरेशन कौन कले तांको एंटरटेनमेंट दरकार हेले तास खेलिले बसिकी ता पर जनरेशन कौन कले दे मूव टू मूवी थिएटर्स. So the terminal value is the same, getting entertainment or getting using the leisure for entertainment, but the instrumental values have changed. Instrumental values had changed. So the culture is a set of beliefs or behaviors which pass from generation to generation with modification as per the receiving generation. Receiving generation hisab tanko hisabre tanko comfort convenience hisabre slightly process to modify करके they adapted. Now, these are the elements of culture. Culture is the accumulation of first element of culture is it is always a shared benefit. A shared belief. A belief which has been transmitted from the previous generation to a current generation. Right? So those beliefs when comes with logic, the beliefs would be based with explanation. Those beliefs will move to longer generations. Basi generations को move कर परिबो. जेतरे beliefs गुड़ाको explanation बिना आसीबो सेटा गोटे दिटा generation move करके हुए तो बंद. So whenever one generation is sharing some belief with the upcoming generation, they should explain the logic or the reason behind the belief. Unless you do that, the beliefs will not tend to get transmitted to many generations. First. Second is, culture is a set of rituals. Rituals are activities we perform as a part of the society. Activities that we perform. Now, for example, when do we brush our teeth? ଦାନ୍ତ କେତେବେଳେ ଘଷୁ?
ସକାଳେ ଉଠିଲେ ପ୍ରଥମେ.
ସକାଳେ ଉଠିଲେ ଘଷୁ. Now, what is the objective behind brushing the teeth? Is to get it clean, right? Now, when the teeth is getting dirty, the teeth is getting dirty whenever we are having food. But we are not cleaning the tooth whenever we are having food. We are not following it with a brushing activity. Rather, we are performing it as a ritual to be performed in the morning. Sakalu uthi danta ghasata gote ritual. We tend to follow it without any analysis, without any thinking, without any eta gote behavior hi jaychi. Do you ever do you ever find anyone je koutho kharabade mu jausite mandira jaiki asibi? No, mandira ketebale loko jibaku prefer karibe?
ସକାଳେ ଗାଧେଇକିନା.
ସକାଳୁ ଗାଧେଇ. So it is a ritual. It has not been coded anywhere. It is a ritual जोड़ा generation wise सेरा कोड belief form रे generation to generation चलछि. यदि घरे के काकू मंदिर जिबाकू कोता जे जन्मदिन छै जा सकाळ उठी गाधेई के मंदिर पळिया. केही केबे कहू नते खरा बेले जाटी के मंदिर रु पळिया. रात्रि जाटी के मंदिर रु पळिया. No. The next element of culture is norms. Norms are rules and regulations made by the society. And every member to become social, to get affiliation of the group, to remain member of the group, has to follow or abide their behavior by the norms. Society, every sabu class ro, sabu society ro, sabu community ro, kichita rules and regulations set. Those are called norms. And norms sangare kaun attach heki thai? Sanctions. Sanctions are the punishments which somebody gets when they disobey the norms. And mostly the sanctions in social in the society, the sanction is in the form of disaffiliation or removing them from the community, getting a disapproval. giving them a disapproval, making them, removing, not accepting them as a member of a particular group or community or a society. And the last element of culture is traditions. Traditions are some social phenomena which are being followed from generation to generation. Again with modification. Right? Celebrating Durga Puja is a tradition. Celebrating Christmas is a tradition. Buying new jewelries during Dhanteras is a tradition. Buying new utensils is a tradition. On some special occasions is a tradition. Cooking some specific cuisine on some specific days is a tradition. We make those pithas, we follow a process, we follow some rituals, go to particular process, that is a tradition. Right? And these marketeers, for the marketeers, all these things, these beliefs, rituals, norms, and traditions are like opportunity. Now, let's suppose with some other day we were discussing about मुझे got a normal pair of dress kinuchi. I'm spending 1,500, 2,000 rupees. But when I'm buying my wedding attire, someone is buying his or her wedding attire, then they would jump up this budget to 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 or 1 lakh rupees or 2 lakhs rupees or more than that. And what happens on that wedding day, so that a consumer is compelled to buy a attire which is 10x his normal budget or which is 10x of the budgets which he is spending on normal days. Now, on top of that, the height is, that is the attire which is purchased and used for once. That is the attire which you will wear once. That is the attire which you cannot donate. That is the attire which you cannot discard. That is the attire which you have to conserve lifelong. ताको पिंधी हबनी ताको काको देई हबनी ताको फोपाड़ी हबनी ताको डोनेट करी हबनी ताको जीवन सारा रखिया को पड़िबो. And for that kind of a wear, I am exploding or I am jumping my budget by 10x. ମୁଁ normally 1500 ଟଙ୍କାର ଜିନିଷ କିଣିଛି, but wedding attire 50,000. Now, what is the reason behind it? The reason is the tradition. And brands like Manyavar and Swayamvar has identified this tradition as an opportunity. Wedding wear in Odisha, if we talk about culture of Odisha, where buying wedding attire is a seasonal process, is a seasonal phenomenon because we have marriage seasons. 2 months in winter, November, December or January, and then 3 months in the summer. So it is not that those brands would be doing a round the year business. They are into a kind of a seasonal business because they are selling wedding attires, and buying wedding attires is a seasonal process. Because our marriages are based on some seasonal phenomenon. And because these marketers know, though we would be selling in some selected months of the year, but the value of consumption, the bill size would be so great that it will help us to earn a sustainable profit throughout the year. ମୁଁ normal ଗୋଟେ ଦୋକାନ କରିକି ଯଦି round the year ବିକ୍ରି କରୁଛି, ଗୋଟେ କପଡ଼ା ଦୋକାନ କରିକି, ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ wedding garment seller is selling wedding garment, ସେ ସେଇ wedding season ରେ ଯେତିକି sell କରିବ, ମୋର store round the year sell କରିକି ବି ସେତିକି sell ହୁଏତ ନ କରିପାରେ. Because I have to, again, the marketer is so wise to know that the person is exploding the budget by 10x. 10 थर किनिबा सांगरे समान करी किनुचे. तमे जदि प्रति मासरे हम गोटे गोटे पकेतांते त 10 मासरे जा किनितांता गोटे वेडिंग रे से किनुचे. So understanding the traditions, understanding the norms, understanding the rituals, understanding the shared beliefs helps the marketer to design products, to design prices, to design promotion, and to design distribution. Now, for example, momos. Momos ro origin kouthu? Which country is the original country for momos? The country of origin kota. Place of origin kota. Can anybody say? their place of origin most probably is Korea, China, and Japan or Nepal, right? And from those countries, it has, through the process of agriculturization, it has moved to India. Se country ru asiki India re pahunchichi. But when you go to a fast food stall offering momo in India or in Bhubaneswar, what we really get? The variants. Can someone name the variants we are getting in a momo stall? Fried momos, tandoori momos, KFC momos, pan fried momos. But if you go to those country of origin of momo, you will only find steamed momos. That is the characteristic of that food or that cuisine. But depending on our culture, the taste and preference consumers of this market hold, the product has been modified. So for a marketer, it is very essential to learn what are these elements of culture within the target market segment. Next is characteristic of culture. Culture is a learned process. We learn the culture. Though it moves from generation to generation, we also learn from others' culture, like for example, celebrating birthdays. In your family, 2 generations back, how did they, if I would talk about Odia families, how did they celebrate birthdays? 2 generations back, people, maybe your grandfather or great grandfather. ତାଙ୍କ ଟାଇମ ରେ ଜନ୍ମଦିନରେ କଣ ହଉଥିଲା, ଚକୁଳି ପିଠା କ୍ଷୀରି ହଉଥିଲା, ସେଟା ଠାକୁରଙ୍କ ପାଖରେ ପୂଜା ହଉଥିଲା, ଆଉ ସେଟା ସାହି ପଡିଶାରେ ବଣ୍ଟା ହଉଥିଲା. That was a birthday celebration. Then in your generation, what is happening? You are celebrating it with a pump and show. ପିଠା ଆଉ କ୍ଷୀରି ଉଠିଗଲାଣି menu ରୁ, cake ଆସିଗଲାଣି, birthday cake, candles, birthday caps, and a small party thrown for near and dear ones. And they would give you some gifts, offer you some gifts. What is the celebration or phenomenon process of celebration for the generation next? Next generation ने केक अच्छी, party अच्छी, semane आसिके guest माने gift दबा अच्छी, आ गोटे नुआ आइडिया गला, the host is also giving a return gift. Now this is something we have learned. And when individuals learn from their own culture, that is called enculturation, and when they learn from others' culture, that is called acculturation. We can learn from our own culture. We can also learn from others' culture. The Gen Z, so-called Gen Z, they are very much fascinated, or they have a specific taste when it comes to consumption of food and drink. And all their consumption of food has been highly influenced by cultures of other countries. When ramen ଖାଇବାକୁ ଭଲ ପାଉଛନ୍ତି, ମ୍ୟାଗି ଖାଇବାକୁ ଭଲ ପାଉଛନ୍ତି, noodles ଖାଇବାକୁ ଭଲ ପାଉଛନ୍ତି, pasta ଖାଇବାକୁ ଭଲ ପାଉଛନ୍ତି, burger ଖାଇବାକୁ ଭଲ ପାଉଛନ୍ତି. This is not a food habit of our culture. This is a food habit of a culture they have learned from. So culture is always a learned process. It includes certain inculcated values. We learn values from others. We tend to अन्य culture रू values भी हमें आने की सीखो. Culture is a social phenomenon. Be it about learning culture or be it about exhibiting culture. Culture रो concept ही आसे गोटे social group रे, गोटे society रे. A person in his own individual life or private life is not worried that much about culture. But when he is in a social gathering, when he is a member of the society, he tends to follow the rituals or the tradition or norms of the culture. Culture is dynamic, though it moves, transmits from generation to generation, but with every phase it is transmitting, it is undergoing some evolution or some changes. Culture change. Right? Like if someone would say, तम बापा को जेतेबेले पीसी आसिकी राखी बांधुले, बापा कौन दउथिले पीसी को? if I would talk about myself, then ମୋ ବାପା ଯେତେବେଳେ ରାକ୍ଷୀ ପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣିମା ହଉଥିଲା ସେଇ ଟାଇମରେ ରାକ୍ଷୀ ଭଉଣୀ ମାନେ ଆସି ବାନ୍ଧୁ ନଥିଲେ, ପୁରୋହିତ ଆସିକି ରାକ୍ଷୀ ବାନ୍ଧୁଥିଲେ, ମନ୍ଦିରର ନନା ମାନେ ଆସିକି ରାକ୍ଷୀ ବାନ୍ଧୁଥିଲେ ଆଉ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଦକ୍ଷିଣା ଦିଆଯାଉଥିଲା। ଦେନ୍ ଆମ ଜେନେରେସନରେ ଆମେ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ କଲୁ ରାକ୍ଷୀ ବାନ୍ଧିବା ଭାଇ ମାନଙ୍କୁ, and it was a gesture of love and affection and a bonding. The generation next, ମୋ ଝିଅ ଏବେ ରାକ୍ଷୀ ବାନ୍ଧିଲେ ଆଗେ ଫାଷ୍ଟ ମାଗୁଛି ମତେ କଣ ଗିଫ୍ଟ ଦେ। So the culture is transmitting, but with some changes, and that's why we say culture is dynamic. We're following those cultures, but it is dynamic. And culture is a gratifying process. When you follow culture, you tend to get satisfaction also. Because when you tend to follow the culture, you are accepted by your class, you are accepted by the society, and that gives a feeling of satisfaction. Culture is a gratifying response. ଯେମିତି ଆମେ କୋଉ ଘରେ ଗୋଟେ ପୂଜା କଲେ ଭଲ ଲାଗେ, so it is a gratification. When you follow culture, you become happy because you are perceived in a right way by others. When you show values, ଯେମିତି କହିଲ ପଡ଼ିଶା ଘର ଲୋକଙ୍କୁ ମାଉସୀ ବୋଲି ଡାକିଲେ, they are happy and you are happy. They perceive you as a well-mannered individual, and that gives you a satisfaction. बड़ों को देखले नमस्कार करिया, that is a self gratification. You feel good that they are blessing you. But actually se blessing re kichi power achi ki no achi, that is a context of debate. But why I am showing that behavior? Because that is bringing some kind of happiness or satisfaction within me and within the recipient also. So next is how culture influence consumers' behavior. The first is culture influence the value orientation of an individual. What is the value system? Our value system is very much designed by the culture we imbibe. Be it a value towards how to use money, be it a value towards how to use resources, be it a value towards how to show what kind of behavior show. Sabu context re केमती मनी यूज करूछु, केमती रिसोर्स यूज करूछु, केमती like few days back I observed with a kid. A kid was accompanying me to the market. ताको से मार्केट रे मु गोटे किछि खाइबा को किनि कि देली गोटे पैकेट जोडा गोटे पैकेट रे थिला. He consumed the stuff and then he was holding the wrapper. He sat in the vehicle and while holding the wrapper, se hatare se jarita ko dharta se gaadi re puni basila. When we reached home, then I told her, "Sita popad de. No, I'll go and throw it in a dustbin." Now this is a value orientation. Now when a consumer, the marketer perspective, when a consumer is showing that behavior, jedi marketer januchi je consumer ta se wrapper ta ko dhari ki ta ghara jae jibo pakkeya pai, they have to design the wrapper in such a way that it should be easy to hold. It should be easy to dispose of. जैसे से रैपरटा बहुत स्टिफ है कि बड़ होता हार्ड होता से मोड़ी के हाथ में धरी पार ना ताको डिस्कम्फर्ट हम, एंड इन द नेक्स्ट कंजप्शन दैट डिस्कम्फर्ट विल प्ले ए रोल. So culture influence our value orientation, and based on that value we consume many things. For example, I would a common example देबे, consuming beef, consumption of beef. It is a general value not to consume beef among Indians. Now, when these Indians move out of the country and go to some Western countries where consumption of beef is very common, they find people there with who are very at ease consuming beef. ମୁଁ କହିଲି ଗୋଟେ ସାଇଡରେ କଲଚର ଇଜ ଲର୍ନ, ଆମେ ଅନ୍ୟଙ୍କ କଲଚରରୁ ଶିଖୁ, କିନ୍ତୁ ଏଇ କଲଚରରୁ ଯୋଉ ଭ୍ୟାଲ୍ୟୁଟା ଡେଭଲପ ହେଇଛି ଇଟ୍ ଇଜ ସୋ ଷ୍ଟ୍ରଙ୍ଗ ଦେ ହେଜିଟେଟ୍ ଟୁ କନଜ୍ୟୁମ ଇଟ୍ ଇନ୍ ଅଦର କଣ୍ଟ୍ରି ଅଲସୋ. And that's the reason marketers, when they are selling globally, when they're selling goods and services globally, they have to really find out who are the consumers who are buying in a country. Accordingly, they have to offer options to those consumers. So culture influences the value orientation of an individual, and even if the individual change his place of residence, so he is moving from one country to other country, he will carry those value orientations along with. Now, for example, just now we discussed a value, this not getting a haircut on Thursdays. This is a value orientation. It's a belief. That has become a value. We tend to reject those services on those specific days. I told you that a research article, I read a research article with a finding done on Saturdays, the sales of cars is dipping. Because we have a value orientation that we don't buy, or we prefer to, tend to avoid to buy metal things on Saturdays. So, metal jinsa. And that value is so deep rooted, the car, jo consumer car kinuchi, गोटे मर्सिडीज किणुची गोटे ऑडी किणुची जे कार किणुची तार केते क्लास बिलोंगिंगनेस चेंज हो गलानी किंतु से वैल्यूटा एबे एबे एते स्ट्रांग अछि से परम शुक्रवार किणुची नले संडे किणुची से सैटरडे किणुची. And almost all brands who are selling cars in India, they find a dip in the sales figure on Saturday. Irrespective of the class of the society, they are offering the car. Second, culture influence taste and preference. This is very clear and there is nothing to explain it. Like South Indians, if they would go to any place, they would prefer a stronger coffee. North Indians, East Indians will always prefer a milder coffee. So our taste and preference has been designed as per our culture. So taste and preparation can be the way we have been brought up in the family circumstances. We are exposed to a specific kind of food. Every Punjabi would search for a glass of lassi after his lunch. Every Bengali would search for a dessert after lunch. Every Western Gujarati or a Maharashtrian would search for say Srikhand after lunch. Right. So our taste and preference of food, when we talk specifically of food and being Indians, we very well know what is the influence of culture on food. The third is culture influence the lifestyle. This can be derived from the first influence that when culture is designing our value orientation, that value orientation decide our pattern of living or style of living. Our lifestyle value orientation depend କରୁଛି. Now what is this lifestyle or value orientation? Now let's suppose ମୁଁ ମୋ ବାପାଙ୍କ କଥା କହିବି. He is a person of the previous generation. When you decide to buy furniture, he would prefer to buy from Vasudev Wood Art, because Vasudev Wood Art is selling furniture made up of solid wood. Sagwan, solid wood furniture semane bikuchanti. His value orientation is I have to buy a furniture which should look good, which should be durable, which should be strong enough, and which I should be able to use for 20 years. Kintu jetale mu furniture kinibi, my generation, when I will decide to buy furniture, I will go to Royal Law. They are selling designer furnitures made up of plyboards, not even or engineered wood, not even solid wood, engineered wood with a low durability, which are very stylish, which are very presentable, which comes in many designs, which I can prefer to select in different colors to match with the interior of my house. Now see the lifestyle, both of us, me and my father, our lifestyle has been designed by different value orientations. He would like to spend money to buy something which is durable, which is strong, can be used for many years. I am ready to spend on something which is stylish, which is good looking, which is flexible, which is which may not have durability. Necessarily, after 5 years, I would change my furniture. So culture influences the lifestyle because lifestyle is designed based on our value system. And the last one is culture influences the interpretation of message. How we read a message, a marketing communication, what we understand from that language, what we understand from the communication, what we understand from the pictures, depends on what is the cultural position of an individual. Like for example, Chevrolet Nova. Chevrolet offered a brand called Nova, 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 to the market. And that brand, they could not sold that brand in all those countries where Spanish people lived. In Spanish speaking countries, they could not sell that brand. The sales was very low. Why? Because in Spanish language, Nova means don't go. Nova, No means don't, Va means go, don't go. Will someone wish or like to prefer or buy a car which says that it don't go? This is the interpretation of the message as per cultural package. Now there was a American brand of undergarments called Charlie, and one of its advertisement created a case, or it created a history. The advertisement became very popular, and that advertisement was so impactful, it increased the sales by 7-8% immediately. And the advertisement was made by some agency who developed an ad campaign. The concept of the campaign was based on Lord Krishna stealing the clothes of gopis. America रे सेमाने गोटे कैंपेन करथिले, concept campaign रो theme टा थिला Lord Krishna करो से story टा where he is stealing the clothes of gopis. Just imagine if some Indian undergarment brand would use the same concept to make advertisement for Indian consumers, viewers. What will happen? Will people get impressed with that?
No.
No. Why? Talking about these things in public is considered as a taboo till date. Drying those clothes in public, ଆମ balcony ରେ ତାକୁ ସୁଖେଇବା ପାଇଁ ବି that is being considered as a taboo till date in our society. We don't talk about those products. And when such products with such serious taboos along with would use concepts of God and goddess would be highly rejected. Advertisement successful hobo ki nahi mu janini, ta par dino Shivsena Bajrang Dal samaste asiki rasta re thia aithibe. True or false?
True, ma'am.
Yeah. So this is how culture influence our behavior, and this is the role of products in reflecting culture. When we buy something, how that essence of culture influence, or when we choose products, we really we try to select products which match with our cultural value system. So products we consume has many roles to play in our life when it is about reflecting cultures. Right? Like for example, Saraswati Puja, Ganesh students, among students, it is a prevailing culture that Saraswati Puja, Ganesh Puja in one dress. Now, what is the justification? Now, any festival you talk about, be it a Janmashtami, be it ko bhi Makar Sankranti, Pona Sankranti, you talk about any festival, the days on which people visit temples, the price of fruits go up by 3x, 4x. Normal कदली गोटे डजन 40 टंका थिबो, जेमिति गोटे संक्रांति पळै आसीबो कि गोटे जन्माष्टमी पळै आसीबो कि गोटे कोन पर्वपर्वाणी पळै आसीबो, से प्राइस ता संग संग 80 टंका 100 टंका हेजिबो. And then also people buy it. Right? Because those products we believe are essential to जेतले मु मंदिर जाउची, मु मंदिर को कोन नै कि जाउची. When someone goes to a temple, what they carry with them?
Fruits.
Fruits, and specifically fruit re bhi specifications achi. A coconut, banana, selected fruits achi. Some flower, a diya, and agarbatti. And why do we carry them?
Our belief.
Because we want to show that this is my culture. We want to show others that this is my culture. We put rangoli in front of the house on some specific days. to show, to communicate the society that this is the culture. We distribute in the neighborhood some special cuisines made on special days. पिठा पणा हेले साई पड़िसा को दौचंती to communicate that this is a culture, right? So products we consume, we select those products, our preferences guided by cultural value system, and we use also products which help us to showcase our culture. माने हमें सिलेक्ट करूछु कल्चरल वैल्यू सिस्टम हिसाब रे आ हमें कंजप्शन गुडा एमिति भी करछु जे हेल्प करियो हमको हम कल्चर ता शो करिया पाई. So the first role of product in reflecting culture is products can speak about your social status, because products you consume can everybody would know, like from the brands it is quite evident that what is the price you have paid, and from that price it is quite evident what is the class belongingness, what is your social status. Higher the brand, higher the price you pay, higher is the status you are. Right? Some products act as a means of self-expression. People use certain products to express their value system. People use products or services to express their value system. Right? आजकल सोशल मीडिया रे केवल से सेल्फ एक्सप्रेशन ही चली. You do some charity, post a photo. You buy something, post a photo. You consume a coffee, you post a photo. And whatever you are trying to express, you try to सब जिनस तो हमें जाने कि कही माने communicate, verbally communicate करी परिबेनी that I am a person of this kind. Right? If someone, let's suppose on 15th August and 27th January, sorry, 26th January, Independence Day and Republic Day, what is the normal attire? आ दुकान मानक देखियो से दी दिन सकाळ तो कोन से दुकान मानक रे कोन देखा जाउ थाए? Tricolor flag, tricolor bands, tricolor badges, tricolor stickers, tricolor ribbons, tricolor balloons. आ से दी दिन देखो समस्त को गाड़ी रे गोटे गोटे इंडियन फ्लैग लागिथबो. That is a consumption made to express my patriotism. You would find most of the people on those 2 days wearing kurtas, khadi kurtas. That is a consumption made to express your patriotism. So products can be consumed, or specific products can be used to express your value system, your emotions, your sentiments, your personality. हमें consumption गुड़ा को एमती करू जो थरे हमें even to the like for example जैसे गोटे छोटा हमें जैसे market consumer के विषय कथा हो तो हमें साधारण भावचो consumers who are very analytical, cognitive ability अच्छी चिंता करूचंती भावुचंती किनुचंती. No, even those categories. You talk about kids. If you offer goods to a kid, to a girl kid, 3-4 years old, you will find they will prefer pink color, anything in pink. When that same girl child grows to 9-10 years, 11-12 years, you offer them anything, they would prefer it in violet, purple. The same girl child when grows to 18, 20, 21, you offer them anything, they would prefer it in black. Right? Because at that age, they feel this choice of color is helping them to express their personality or their self. Products can be used to express self of a person. Products can be used to share emotions when you gift something someone. Normally, समझते प्रथम दरमाटा कौन करती? The first salary you get, what you do with that, or what you plan to do with that. Those who are working can share their experience. प्रथम दरमाटा रे कौन आपण माने करथिले?
बाबांको दे देथिले.
बाबांको दे देथिले. आउ के any other opinion कि आउ किछ अलगा करथिले? And what you did with your second salary?
निज ऊपर खर्च.
Why second salary काई बाबांको दिया हलानी?
माने बाबांको दिया हला तांकोड पुणी वापस आने कि ना खर्च करा हला.
So when you gave your first salary to Baba, that was something, that behavior was helping you to share your emotions. Right? You are trying to showcase your achievement. So first salary पहले बहुत लोग अचानक gift किनी के family members को पाई नहीं होती. Right? That is helping you when you are buying gifts for others. It is not to satisfy them. It is to satisfy yourself, because this purchase and this act of gifting that product to someone else is helping you out to share your emotion. And some products have aesthetic qualities which give you happiness. किसी प्रोडक्ट करो किसी एस्थेटिक क्वालिटी एमती गोटे क्वालिटी थाए से प्रोडक्ट को देखिले कि किनिले ही बहुत खुशी लगे. Like a khadi shawl, you tend to like it. And products are experiential. Every product and consumption of the product gives you an experience. And those products you buy to experience that feeling. That experience of satisfaction, experience of happiness, experience of gratification, right? Now, if someone is putting a watch, a Rado watch on the wrist, that is giving him an experience. A watch does खाली time देखिए को पिन नहीं. He is also deriving many other satisfactions from that. So these are the role of product in reflecting culture. Any doubt? Anybody want to ask anything?
No, ma'am.
So should I call it a day? Sarima class?
Okay, ma'am.
Fine. So we'll meet again tomorrow. Good night. Should I leave the meeting or someone will become the host? Our class अच्छी यहाँ पर है?
अच्छी ma'am.
But मोते option आउस्टी end meeting for all. Leave meeting रो option आसुनी मोते आसुची end meeting for all. Should I end it?
End कर देना ma'am.